Good afternoon, I'm Mark Wright. A lot going on in the news this afternoon, including a bombshell announcement from Seattle Mayor Ed Murray. He will not run for re-election in the fall. We're live with reaction coming up. Plus, an emergency situation at Hanford. A tunnel has collapsed. The governor is responding. We have more on exactly what happened in South Central Washington.
It looks like some beautiful sunny spring weather headed our way, but then some wetness once again. We'll tell you when to expect that in just a few minutes.
Thanks for joining us on this Tuesday. You're watching King 5 News at noon. We get started with a major incident at the Hanford Nuclear Reservation in eastern Washington, a tunnel collapse that prompted hundreds of workers to take cover. A Hanford spokesperson says no one was injured, but there's still a lot of uncertainty about the impacts of this emergency. King 5's Ted Land joins us live from the newsroom with the latest on this. Ted.
Well, Mark, a worker at Hanford just sent us some clips showing the evacuation. Let's take a look.
Well, so it's either a drill or an emergency.
Hundreds of workers took cover after part of a railroad tunnel collapsed. A Hanford spokesperson says this incident is confined to a small area of the nuclear site. They say there are no reports of injuries, no reports at this point of a radiological release. That tunnel leads to a former plutonium-uranium extraction plant, and the spokesperson tells us they're investigating a section of soil that sank this morning. We understand the tunnel was full of contaminated materials such as hot radioactive trains that transport fuel rods. An emergency operations center has been activated as the Department of Energy and first responders try to determine the impacts of this collapse. Roughly 200 workers are on site. They were told to get indoors as soon as possible. A manager sent a message to everyone telling them to secure ventilation in their buildings and then refrain from eating or drinking.
Repeat, this is an emergency. Take cover immediately. All personnel should refrain from eating or drinking until told it is safe to do so.
Governor Jay Inslee just released a statement. He writes, quote, "This is a serious situation and ensuring the safety of the workers and the community is a top priority. Our understanding is that the site went into immediate lockdown in which workers were told to seek shelter and all access to the area has been closed." Inslee says the White House called him this morning to let him know what is going on at Hanford. Now, we just received a clip of video from our affiliate in the area. An official with the Hanford response just briefed reporters on that situation. Here's what he had to say.
All personnel in the immediate area have been accounted for. They are safe, and there's been no evidence of a radiological release.
And also no reports of injuries at this point. This is an ongoing, developing situation. We'll keep you updated as we learn more. Mark?
All right, Ted Land, thank you so much for the latest from our newsroom. Now to the other big story. Breaking news today. Embattled Seattle Mayor Ed Murray will not run for re-election in the fall. King 5's Chris Daniels joins us from Alki, where Murray held a press conference this morning. And Chris, Murray today announced the end of his political career, where it began decades ago.
Yeah, here in West Seattle at the Alki Bathhouse, Murray laid out his nearly 3-decade-long political career before announcing that it would come to an abrupt end later on this year. He was surrounded by his cabinet and supporters, some of whom wiped away tears as Murray made his statement.
The allegations against me paint me in the worst possible historic portraits of a gay man. The allegations against me are not true, and I say this with all honesty and with the deepest sincerity. But the scandal surrounding them and me is hurting this city. It hurts those who have been victims of abuse. It hurts my family. It hurts Michael. For these reasons, I'm announcing that I am withdrawing as a candidate for mayor.
Michael is Murray's longtime husband, and of course, if you've been following this story, all of this comes as the mayor faces a lawsuit alleging that Murray molested a man as a young boy several decades ago, and 3 other men have also stepped forward to repeat similar allegations. And it seems like in the last few weeks, Murray's response to the allegations, rather than the allegations themselves, have garnered the most criticism. I had a chance to talk with former Seattle Mayor Charlie Royer about the allegations and the statement today. He calls himself a Murray supporter. Here's what he had to say.
I can't believe the pressure that has just slid off this guy's shoulders with that announcement today. And I know he's sad, but he's got a strong family, and a lot of people are supporting him, and a lot of people believe him. There are people in this city, I hate to say this, but there are people in this city who don't like gay people, just per se. And this is going to be a street fight about being gay. And it's just not going to be good for the city if he's in it and not paying attention to the mayor's. I think it's the best thing he could do.
And a lot of Murray supporters did say today they believe this was a good decision by Murray to put his interests aside in the interests of the city. I also asked Royer, who served a few terms in the city of Seattle, what this means for legislation going forward. There are several big ticket items in front of the mayor and the council. He said when he knew he was going into his last term and his last days in office, it actually made it easier to govern and get things done. That will be a story here going forward in the next several months. More to come on this story throughout the day, but for now, live in West Seattle, Chris Daniels, King 5 News.
All right, Chris, thank you. So, as you can imagine, big day in Seattle. A lot of reaction coming in now from city leaders this noon hour. King 5's Alex Rozier joins us from outside City Hall. Alex.
Yeah, Mark, as you would expect, this story is really the talk of City Hall, but at this point, it is a story that few people want to comment on publicly. We did, however, just hear from Councilman member Tim Burgess. Now, Tim has been a longtime ally of the mayor. He stood behind Ed Murray today at his press conference, and here's what he had to say about the announcement.
I look back over the last 4 years, and he's been an incredibly bold and courageous leader for our city. And I think he's being a very courageous leader now. And he's putting the people of Seattle first, and I applaud him for that. But this has got to be a tough, tough time for him and his family and those of us who've stood with him for the last 4 years.
Now, we did just receive this statement from Council member Lisa Herbold. She said, quote, "I've come to know the mayor as a person who doesn't back away from a political challenge. His decision today tells me that in his assessment of the political challenge before him was one in which he would not prevail. I think that it's best for the city that, moving forward, questions about his guilt or innocence and the character of his accusers are reserved for a court of law, where a judge determines their admissibility." Again, that's Council member Lisa Herbold. It has been an interesting morning here at City Hall. We were here just before 9 a.m. when dozens of mayoral staffers showed up for a meeting here at City Hall. Minutes after that ended, friends and supporters then took off for West Seattle. We were in the council chambers, though, with 3 council members in the minutes leading up to Ed Murray's announcement this morning. Kshama Sawant, Lisa Herbold, and Mike O'Brien all left the chambers with no comment about this story. As we come back out live, it is a historic day at City Hall as Ed Murray announces he will not be running for re-election. We are continuing to gather reaction to this story, and we'll bring it to you as we have it. Reporting live, I'm Alex Rozier, King 5 News.
All right, Alex, thanks for the latest there from City Hall. Meantime, 2 more candidates are now jumping into the race for Seattle mayor. State Senator Bob Hasegawa is expected to formally announce his candidacy. Senator Hasegawa represents the Beacon Hill area in the state legislature. He says he's making public housing a top priority.
We, as one of the most prosperous cities in the country, it's a disgrace to have the homeless problem that we have. So there's no conversation at all around public housing. It's all around affordable housing. The city can start building housing again.
Senator Hasegawa says he also favors a proposed city income tax for high-income earners, something the current mayor supports. A TV journalist, Michael Harris, declared his candidacy last night. Harris is a documentary and network television producer for ABC News. He's also served as executive director of the Pacific Whale Watch Association. Harris wants to take on education, environmental issues, economic development, and the homelessness problem. He says he'll do it without raising taxes. Elsewhere today, Seattle's Police Chief Kathleen O'Toole says she plans to stay on the job in Seattle despite having a new role. O'Toole has reportedly been named to lead a police commission in Ireland. Our news partner, the Seattle Times, reports O'Toole will do that and remain Seattle's top cop at the same time. Now to the latest on Russia's meddling in the U.S. presidential election. President Trump is slamming the investigation today. This after former acting Attorney General Sally Yates testified before Congress yesterday. NBC's Peter Alexander has the latest.
The Trump team's possible ties to Russia again under scrutiny.
To state the obvious, you don't want your national security advisor compromised with the Russians.
Former acting Attorney General Sally Yates, an Obama administration holdover, on the Capitol Hill hot seat. For the first time, Yates detailing how she warned President Trump's White House counsel during 2 meetings and a phone call in late January about then National Security Advisor Michael Flynn's conversations with the Russian ambassador.
The first thing we did was to explain to Mr. McGahn that the underlying conduct that General Flynn had engaged in was problematic in and of itself.
Yates alerting the White House that Flynn had not only misled the vice president and other officials, but that the Russians knew.
That created a compromise situation, a situation where the national security advisor essentially could be blackmailed by the Russians.
Late Monday, President Trump unleashing a mini tweet storm, making no mention of Flynn, arguing that Yates' testimony revealed nothing new, and insisting the Russia collusion story is a total hoax, even changing his Twitter page to punctuate the point. Yates warning at least the second the White House received about Flynn. NBC News has learned that President Obama delivered his own personal warning to then-President-elect Trump against hiring Flynn during that Oval Office meeting less than 48 hours after the election, according to 3 former Obama administration officials. At the time, Flynn was already a key advisor to Mr. Trump. The Obama administration had fired him from his post as head of the Defense Intelligence Agency in 2014. The White House on Monday suggesting that history prompted President Obama's advice, which Mr. Trump essentially dismissed.
It's true that President Obama made it known that he wasn't exactly a fan of General Flynn's, which is frankly shouldn't come as a surprise to anyone.
Peter Alexander with that report. Some local news now. SeaTac Airport is preparing for the busy upcoming summer travel season. K-9 security teams with the Port of Seattle and King County Sheriff's Office are taking part in a statewide training exercise today at the airport. They're sharpening their noses, practicing bomb sniffing, and working around the baggage claim area.
Well, we are lucky in that we get to train for something we'll probably never find. So as opposed to the military working teams working overseas that are probably finding things every day, we don't. It's just basically training. We're just playing hide and go seek with them every day.
Recently, TSA decided to beef up K-9 security at SeaTac because it's become one of, if not the fastest growing airport in the country. Coming up right here, a new leader in South Korea. We'll show you who's declaring victory in this volatile region today. Also coming up, doubling down on the war in Afghanistan, a big reversal in policy as the military pushes for more U.S. troops to deploy. And some good news, we are on tap for a 70-degree day. Rich is back with your full forecast when King 5 News at noon comes back.
Kelly says for 12 years she was her father's sex slave wife.
King 5 News is brought to you in part by Discount Direct Furniture and Mattress Gallery.
Welcome back. Okay, this is the kind of day that you dream of when you're a meteorologist, because at the grocery store later, people are either going to hug you or thank you.
Well, it's also because I felt really good today just putting suns on. That's really nice.
Isn't that great?
Now,
though?
a perfect day is if I can leave the suns on for the next day and then I don't have to change icons. It's much more restful that way.
Beautiful.
And actually, I should be able to, because tomorrow is going to be another sunny day, dry and warm. And as Mark said before the break, we're going to be pushing 70 in a lot of places today. It's almost a perfect spring day. Let's take a look outside. Boy, it has just been a gorgeous day. In fact, checking out Bellingham right now, see lots of blue, as I always say, blue sky and blue water up there in Bellingham, looking out over there. Of course, Keep in mind that all the blue water, not just in Bellingham, but around western Washington, is extremely cold right now. So as it gets warm, it might be some mid to upper 70s tomorrow afternoon. Keep that in mind in terms of water safety. That water is cold enough to really seize you up if you get into it this time of the year. So got to wait for a little bit more warmer weather to warm things up a bit. Out at SeaTac, seeing sunshine, no backups at all on the departure deck, in pretty good shape out there. Take a look out at Westport, pretty much across the entire state. A nice day. You can see the sunshine out there this afternoon, and also there looking out from Anacortes Middle School, a little bit of haze in the air. Might see a few thin high clouds drifting through today, but that's going to be about all. Down in Olympia, still seeing you can see some of the high clouds going on through there, and beautiful day up in the mountains as well. Looking out from the gondola there at Crystal out towards Mount Rainier. They're closed right now, but actually the sightseeing gondola will reopen towards the end of June. You can go up and enjoy that view firsthand. Take a look at temperatures. Warming up nicely. We had a few places down in southwestern Washington out along the coast that were in the mid to upper 30s to start the day today, but you can see they've overcome that at this point. 70 out there at Wishkah. We've got 67 in Redmond, 63 in Vashon. Up farther to the north, a little bit cooler as it usually is, 56 in Oak Harbor, but 62 degrees up there in Ferndale right now. Checking the satellite picture, you can see we do have the ridge of high pressure moving through. That's giving us the sunshine. We have a little weak offshore flow. That's kind of limited the amount of fog we saw this morning. And we do have some north winds today, which oftentimes in this situation, the north winds will be kind of cool and make it feel chilly, even though the air is fairly warm. They're going to be light today and tomorrow. Because of that, you're going to be able to actually appreciate the sunshine, get out and actually do a little basking. Up in the northwest interior, we're going to be looking for sunshine this afternoon. Those high temperatures a little bit cooler there, mid to upper 60s. Still not bad. But ever south, we're going to be looking at the high temperatures, mostly in the mid 60s into the low 70s. You might even see a few upper or mid 70s as you get out towards the Cascade foothills. Coastal beaches in great shape as well. Lots of sunshine out there. Temperatures upper 50s and low to maybe a few mid 60s as you move inland. East of the Cascades, sunny and warming up over there. Highs in the 70s to right near 80 degrees down there in the Tri-Cities. If you are headed up to the mountains today, not a bad day at all, though the trail's pretty much under a lot of snow at this point. Temperatures this afternoon mostly in the 50s, and if you're headed out on western Washington's waters, pretty day as well. Take a look at that. Dungeness Lighthouse looking pretty inviting right now. We'll see the winds become northerly at about 5 to 10 miles per hour, so pretty quiet out there. Not the best of sailing maybe, but still a good day to be out on the water. For today, again, temperatures in the mid 60s to the low 70s. Tomorrow, upper 60s, low to mid 70s, with high clouds will start to thicken up tomorrow afternoon. Rain will move in as we head towards Wednesday night. Look for that to turn to showers by afternoon on Thursday. Temperatures dropping all the way back to the mid to upper 50s. Showers and sun breaks for Friday and Saturday. Sunday for Mother's Day, I think it's going to dry out a bit. It'll be partly sunny. It might be a couple showers around, but probably dry for most spots. Temperatures into the low 60s. Monday, another little system pushes in for another round of rain and back into the mid to upper 50s. So it does look like we dry out and warm up a bit again as we head towards the middle part of next week. But boy, go out and savor today and tomorrow.
Oh, it's going to be great. Yeah. Rich, thank you.
You're welcome.
Back in the news today, it appears that South Korea has a new president. Exit polls show a landslide victory for Liberal candidate Moon Jae-in. The Conservative candidate conceded this morning. Moon gave a thumbs up to his supporters at a victory rally this morning. Exit polling shows him winning by a landslide. Moon has been critical of the U.S. deployment of the THAAD missile defense system. He's also taken a softer stance toward North Korea than his opponent. A major policy shift in the war in Afghanistan. After years of scaling back the number of U.S. troops there, the military is now recommending sending several thousand U.S. service members to Afghanistan. We get the latest now from NBC's Hallie Jackson.
Possible change of course in Afghanistan, as U.S. military and foreign advisors are now proposing a plan to put several thousand more troops on the ground to try to take out the Taliban, once again gaining strength in the country. President Trump has yet to authorize what would be a major shift in strategy that comes after what the Washington Post calls a sweeping policy review based on the president's desire to, quote, start winning again.
What I do is I authorize my military. That's why they've been so successful lately.
It comes just weeks after the U.S. dropped the so-called mother of all bombs in Afghanistan, the largest non-nuclear bomb ever deployed, where dozens of ISIS militants were killed. Press Secretary Sean Spicer was asked about the administration's principles on Afghanistan this week.
Well, I think he wants to make sure that we do what we can to win, and that's why he charged the generals and other military advisors and national security team to come up with a plan that can get us there.
The The U.S. scaled back operations in Afghanistan under the Obama administration. Back in 2013, before entering politics, Donald Trump weighed in on the topic, tweeting, "We should leave Afghanistan immediately. No more wasted lives. If we have to go back in, we go in hard and quick."
Hallie Jackson with that report. So under this new plan, the Pentagon, not the White House, would be authorized to set troop levels. The president has yet to publicly weigh in on sending in more troops. Other national news today, 8 fraternity brothers at Penn State University face a judge today after a pledge died during a hazing ritual. Prosecutors say Timothy Piazza died in February after falling down a flight of stairs during a pledge night at the frat house. He was forced to drink vodka, beer, and wine. He had a blood alcohol content 4 times the legal limit. No one called 911 until 12 hours after he fell. In all, 18 frat brothers are charged in his death. The president of a Port Orchard Little League is looking for some stolen pitching machines this afternoon. The president says sometime last week, thieves broke into the South Kitsap Eastern Little League fields. He shared these pictures with us. The thieves cut through a locked fence and stole 2 machines. They were taken right before a league fundraiser. The president says it will be tough to replace that equipment. If you can help, go ahead and contact the Little League. Coming up, they look real. Coupons circulating on social media offering huge discounts, but don't click. We have a warning from consumer experts on the other side of the break. Don't go away.
The Washington town that's home to the best state park and lighthouse.
Skagit Valley Casino. Let Blue Flame help you stay cool this summer with a new AC system. Call now and add AC for as little as $17 per week.
Don't let the dog days of summer get you beat.
Call Blue Flame now.
Exceptional service, expert repairs, Blue Flame Heating and Air.
Welcome back. Right now, a scam is circulating on social media targeting Mother's Day shoppers. You're offered a coupon as criminals look for your personal information. NBC's Miguel Almaguer reports experts say this is all just a scam.
With an estimated $24 billion to be spent on this Mother's Day, consumers across the country are looking for deals, while crooks are looking for their own steal, flooding social media, eye-popping discounts. We've seen 50% off at Kohl's, $75 off at Bed Bath & Beyond, and just in time for Mom, $50 off at Lowe's. Shoppers hoping they are a click away from big savings, when in fact they are one step closer to revealing personal information.
They can risk identity theft, they can lose money. So it's important for coupon users to be aware of how to tell if a coupon is too good to be true.
The bogus discounts found on social sharing sites like Facebook look real, but the offer couldn't be more fake. Cyber thieves are trying to lure consumers into clicking coupons, then handing over their details, name, phone number, or credit card information, and consumers are losing big.
Millions of people fall for these scams. Phishing has become incredibly prevalent. That credit card compromise or credit card takeover is really the largest category of identity theft.
With a growing list of retailers warning consumers to beware, Lowe's says if the offer is too good to be true, then it is. The recent coupon that surfaced online was a phishing scam. There was no connection to Lowe's. Bed Bath & Beyond saying, "We are sorry for any confusion and disappointment this fake coupon has caused." For their part, Facebook says dedicated teams are working to block the coupon scams before more fall victim. The so-called mother of all scams, hitting the web just before Mother's Day.
Miguel Almaguer with that report. So we're going to get a check of the top stories at the bottom of the hour. Also coming up, they lost their children to a drunk driver on Interstate 5. Hear about this family's fight to keep tougher DUI restrictions in place. Also, saved from the storm, we head to a wildlife sanctuary that helped these little owls after last week's wild weather. When King 5 News comes back.
Critics are loving great news. You're watching King 5 News.
Welcome back. I'm Mark Wright. Thanks for joining us. Let's check out our top stories, including a bombshell announcement this afternoon. Actually, this morning from Seattle's Mayor Ed Murray says he will not run for re-election. Murray was considered a strong favorite to win a second term, but his campaign was rocked by sex abuse allegations. 4 men claim Murray paid them for sex when they were underage.
The allegations against me paint me in the worst possible historic portraits of a gay man. The allegations against me are not true, and I say this with all honesty and with the deepest sincerity. But the scandal surrounding them and me is hurting this city. It hurts those who have been victims of abuse. It hurts my family. It hurts Michael. For these reasons, I'm announcing that I am withdrawing as a candidate for mayor.
Michael, of course, the mayor's husband. Sources said polling by the mayor's campaign showed Murray's chances of winning re-election were hurt by the allegations. Murray will serve out the remainder of his term, which runs through the end of December of this year. Hundreds of workers at Hanford were ordered to take cover this morning after a tunnel collapsed there. The tunnel was full of highly contaminated materials. A Hanford spokesman says all workers have been accounted for. They're all safe, and there's been no evidence of a radiological release. We'll keep you posted throughout the day and back here at 4 o'clock. Other local news today, Seattle Police Chief Kathleen O'Toole says she plans to stay on the job in Seattle despite having a new role. O'Toole has reportedly been named to lead a police commission in Ireland. Our news partner, the Seattle Times, reports O'Toole will do that and remain Seattle's top cop at the same time. We are learning more this afternoon about the Seattle police officer charged in a drug trafficking ring. Officer Alex Chipakti, a 16-year veteran of the force, is one of 4 people charged in a drug trafficking ring that allegedly transported 220 pounds of marijuana cross country. He was apparently paid $10,000 per month to keep tabs on local pot grow houses and give the drug trafficking group information on law enforcement. Officer Chipakti is well known in South Seattle for his work in the community.
Facing serious allegations, and you balance that with his work with children, with his work with his family, with the community policing. Was he just on a fun trip with the guys, or was he a criminal? That's the issue.
The Seattle police chief called Chipakti's alleged actions, quote, disgraceful and disappointing. Bellevue police are investigating Seahawk Jaron Reed for assault. Sources tell us this is a domestic violence investigation. A woman filed a complaint saying the defensive tackle assaulted her last month. Authorities haven't decided whether to file charges. The Seahawks have not responded to a request for comment. Alexander Petter was driving drunk 7 years ago when he plowed into 3 teenagers, killing 2 of them after their car broke down on Interstate 5. Petter served time in jail, but as Lily Tan shows us, 7 years after the deadly crash, the families of the 2 teens killed are not done fighting.
Well, it feels like torture coming back to be in court with this man.
As Alexander Petter entered a Redmond courtroom today, families of the victims could barely look at him.
Just very difficult. It's just, it's hard to meet the man that killed your son.
Close to 7 years ago, Petter was driving drunk on I-5 when he crashed into a car stalled on the side of the road. Inside, 2 of the 3 teenagers, Derek King and Nick Hodgins, died. Their other friend was severely injured.
It brings back all the memories of the accident and seeing my son dying in the hospital.
Nick's mother, Mary, was in court along with Derek's parents. Recently, a judge lifted the restrictions requiring Petter to use an alcohol monitoring device at home. Today, prosecutors asked the judge to reverse his decision, claiming Petter got around the rules by skipping tests and driving a different car.
That search uncovered a 5th of vodka in a brown paper bag in his freezer.
The circumstances around it, while there were suspicions, they didn't find him drinking.
Petter declined to say anything in court.
No, Your Honor, I'll pass.
In the end, the judge decided to reimpose the at-home alcohol test. Petter still has another device on his car until 2020.
He's got nothing to show me that he's really been clean and sober.
The families say they're relieved. That is, until Petter's next court date later this month.
Just compounds what we're going through, the frustration, the anxiety.
Just 2 weeks shy of the 7-year anniversary of their son's death.
And we miss Nick every day.
In Redmond, Lily Tan, King 5 News.
Elsewhere in news today, a memorial service for former Washington Governor Mike Lowry will take place at the end of this month. Lowry died last week at the age of 78. He served as Washington's governor from 1993 to 1997 and also represented the state's 7th congressional district during a decade-long career in the U.S. House of Representatives. The memorial service takes place on May 30th at St. Matthew's Lutheran Church in Renton. The Seattle Times reports that Lowry's family is requesting donations to the Lowry Fund to End Homelessness in lieu of sending flowers.